Welcome to today's episode. Have you ever asked yourself, do I really need to know all the grammar rules to speak English well? You're not alone. Many learners struggle with grammar and wonder if it's truly necessary. In this podcast, we'll explore the real role of grammar in English learning, whether it's overrated or essential, and how you can approach it in a smart and stress-free way. Let's dive into the truth about grammar. Part 1. The real role of grammar in English learning. When we start learning English, one of the first things we encounter is grammar. Rules, structures, tenses, prepositions. It can feel overwhelming. Many learners ask, do I need to master grammar to be fluent? Or, can I speak well without knowing all the rules? These are fair questions, and the answer is both simple and complex. Grammar is important, but not in the way most people think. You don't need to memorize every rule to speak English fluently. You don't need to be perfect. Native speakers themselves often break grammar rules in daily speech. So, why is grammar taught everywhere, and why does it seem so essential? Because grammar is the system behind the language. It helps us build clear sentences, express time, compare things, and describe actions. Think of it as the skeleton of a body. It holds everything together, even if it's not always visible. However, focusing too much on grammar can actually slow down your progress. Many learners become afraid to speak because they're unsure if their grammar is correct. They worry about tenses, articles, or word order. This fear creates hesitation and reduces confidence. The truth is, communication matters more than perfection. If you say, he go to work every day, most people will understand you, even if the correct sentence is, he goes to work every day. Your message is clear, and that's the main goal of language. Grammar helps us be more precise, but it should never stop us from speaking. In fact, many people improve their grammar through real practice, not by reading rules, but by listening, speaking, and writing. Imagine trying to learn how to ride a bicycle by reading about it in a book. You might understand the theory, but you won't learn to balance until you actually get on the bike. Grammar is the same. You can study it, but you only learn how it works by using it in real situations. This is why language immersion, watching movies, listening to podcasts, reading, and having conversations, is so powerful. You start to feel the language, not just think about it. Your brain begins to recognize correct patterns naturally, without needing to remember the rule behind it. For example, after hearing, I have been working all day many times, you'll know it sounds right. Even if you forget the name, present perfect continuous. So should you ignore grammar completely? Not at all. A basic understanding is very helpful, especially for writing and professional communication. But grammar should be a tool, not a barrier. Focus first on using the language, speaking, listening, reading, and let grammar support that. When you make mistakes, notice them and learn. But don't be afraid to make them. They are part of the learning process. Even native speakers make grammar mistakes sometimes. The key difference is that they don't let those mistakes stop them from expressing themselves. Also, remember that grammar is not the same in all situations. Spoken English is often more relaxed than written English. In conversations, people use contractions, slang, and informal structures. They might say, I gotta go, instead of I have to go, or ain't nothing wrong, instead of there's nothing wrong. These expressions may break grammar rules, but they are perfectly natural in context. Understanding this difference helps you avoid unnecessary stress. You don't need to speak like an English textbook to be understood. You just need to be clear, confident, and consistent. In the next part, we'll explore how you can learn grammar in a natural and stress-free way, using real-life input and smart habits. Grammar doesn't have to be boring or difficult. With the right mindset, it can actually be interesting and even fun. Ready to make peace with grammar? Let's go! Part 2. How to learn grammar naturally and effectively. If you want to learn grammar without feeling bored or stressed, the key is to stop treating it as a subject to memorize and start treating it as something you experience. Grammar is best learned when it's connected to real communication, not isolated from it. Many traditional grammar books teach rules out of context. You study structures like present perfect or conditional sentences with no idea how they sound in real life. This method is tiring and often ineffective. A better approach is to learn grammar through stories, conversations, and content that interests you. When you hear the same structure used many times in natural speech, your brain begins to recognize it without conscious effort. You may not know the grammar rule, but you know what feels right. That's how native speakers learn their first language, and it works for second languages too. Start with input. Listen to podcasts, watch TV shows, and read articles or books in English. Focus on understanding the meaning, not analyzing every word. You'll notice patterns. You'll hear, "He's gone to the store," and understand that it means he's not here now. You might not name the tense, but your brain will connect the sentence to a situation. This is how grammar becomes part of your natural use. Then, when you begin to speak or write, those patterns will guide you. You'll say things that sound right because they feel familiar. And if you're not sure, you can check the rule later, after you've already tried to use it. Another great way to improve your grammar naturally is by writing regularly. Write short paragraphs about your day, your thoughts, or a topic you enjoy. Don't worry about being perfect. Just write. Later, review what you wrote and compare it to correct English from books or websites. You'll begin to notice where your sentences differ and why. This reflection helps you internalize grammar rules without pressure. You can also use language tools like Grammarly or DeepLWrite to check your writing and learn from your mistakes. But always remember, the goal is not perfect grammar. The goal is clear communication and constant improvement. You can also practice grammar through guided speaking. Choose a grammar structure you want to work on, for example, past simple, and record yourself talking about a past experience. Then listen to how it sounds. Compare it with native speakers if you can. This helps you notice where you're making mistakes and gives you a chance to self-correct. If you do this regularly, you'll gain both fluency and accuracy. Grammar practice doesn't need to be boring worksheets. It can be interactive, dynamic, and meaningful. You learn best when you're emotionally engaged with the material, when the topic matters to you. Another powerful strategy is to use grammar in conversations. Find a speaking partner, either online or in person, and challenge yourself to use certain grammar points during your chat. For example, if you've been studying the future tense, try to talk about your weekend plans using will or going to. This kind of targeted practice helps reinforce what you've learned and builds your confidence. And if you make mistakes, great. That's how you learn. Every error is a doorway to understanding something better. Grammar is not a prison, it's a bridge. It connects your thoughts with the words that carry them. Don't let fear of grammar stop you from expressing yourself. Learn it with curiosity. Use it with courage. And trust that with time, your understanding will deepen. You don't need to know everything at once. Language learning is a journey, not a race. Focus on progress, not perfection, and always keep communicating. Part 3. Common myths about grammar in English learning. There are many myths about grammar that confuse language learners and slow their progress. One common belief is that you must master grammar rules before you can speak fluently. This idea is deeply rooted in traditional education systems, where accuracy is often valued more than communication. But the truth is that many fluent English speakers make grammar mistakes, especially in casual conversation. Native speakers often bend grammar rules or ignore them entirely when speaking informally. So why should learners feel pressure to be perfect? Communication should always come first. Making mistakes is not a sign of failure. It's a necessary part of the learning process. Another myth is that grammar learning must be difficult and boring. This belief keeps many students from enjoying their journey. Grammar can be fun when taught in context. Watching a funny movie or listening to a good podcast teaches grammar just as well as a textbook, and often better. You see how grammar works in real situations, with emotion, humor, and meaning. This helps your brain remember it. So instead of thinking of grammar as a list of dry rules, think of it as a tool that helps you tell your story better. Once you change your mindset, everything becomes easier. A third myth is that grammar is only important for writing, not speaking. Some learners believe that spoken English is relaxed and informal, so grammar doesn't matter. But this isn't true. While spoken English may be less strict, grammar still plays a huge role in how clear and professional you sound. If you want to be taken seriously in job interviews, presentations, or academic discussions, correct grammar can make a big difference. Good grammar helps you organize your thoughts and avoid misunderstandings. That said, don't obsess over being perfect. Just aim to be clear and natural. Over time, accuracy will improve with practice. Some learners also believe that they're bad at grammar and will never understand it. This belief can be very damaging. The truth is, grammar is a skill, not a talent. No one is born knowing grammar. Everyone learns it step by step, through exposure and repetition. If you've struggled with grammar before, maybe the method wasn't right for you. Maybe you need to learn with more examples, or maybe you need to see grammar in action instead of studying rules. There's always a way that works for you. You just haven't found it yet. Stay open. Stay curious. Keep experimenting until something clicks. Another harmful myth is that only teachers or experts can correct your grammar. While guidance is helpful, you don't need someone else to tell you when something is wrong. You can use tools like online grammar checkers, AI tutors, or language apps to learn on your own. You can also compare your writing with native-level samples, or listen carefully to how English is spoken in podcasts and videos. Learning is no longer limited to the classroom. You are in control of your progress. The more you take ownership of your learning, the faster you'll improve. Finally, some people think grammar doesn't change, but it does. English grammar has evolved over time, and it continues to change with use. New expressions, simplified rules, and even slang become part of everyday communication. What was once incorrect may become acceptable, so it's important to stay flexible. Don't get stuck in old rules that no one follows anymore. Instead, stay updated with how English is spoken and written today. Language is alive, and grammar is too. Part 4. A balanced approach to grammar learning. Now that we've explored the importance of grammar and debunked common myths, the question becomes, how should you actually study grammar? The answer lies in balance. Neither ignoring grammar nor obsessing over it is the solution. Instead, grammar should be treated as one of many tools that support your fluency. You don't need to learn every rule before you speak. You just need to learn what helps you communicate better, and you can build from there. One of the best ways to learn grammar naturally is through context. This means learning grammar as it appears in real conversations, not isolated from the rest of language. For example, when you read a dialogue in a novel, you'll see how verb tenses shift depending on the situation. When you listen to a podcast, you'll hear how native speakers use conditionals or modals in everyday talk. Your brain starts to notice these patterns and absorb them without you even realizing it. This is how children learn grammar. They hear it used again and again until it becomes part of them. You can do the same. Another key is consistent exposure. If you only study grammar once a week, you'll forget most of what you learned. But if you review small grammar points daily, like 10 minutes of practice, it becomes a habit. This is far more effective than trying to memorize 50 rules in one sitting. Use mobile apps, short video lessons, or grammar-based games to make daily practice easy and fun. Little by little, it adds up. Feedback is also essential. Without feedback, you won't know what mistakes you're making. That doesn't mean you need a private teacher. You can get feedback from online grammar checkers like Grammarly or Quillbot. You can ask language exchange partners to correct your sentences. You can even record your own voice and listen to it later, checking for grammar accuracy. The more feedback you get, the more awareness you develop. And that awareness leads to improvement. At the same time, don't let grammar stop your fluency. If you're in a conversation and you don't remember the exact rule, just keep speaking. Use what you know. If you say, "He go to school," and the listener still understands, that's a win. Later, you can review the rule and improve it. But don't freeze or stay silent because of fear. The most fluent people are those who are not afraid to make mistakes. Confidence builds fluency faster than any grammar rule ever will. Remember, fluency and accuracy grow together, but they don't always grow at the same time. In the beginning, focus more on fluency. Speak, write, and express your ideas without worrying too much. Later, refine your grammar as your confidence grows. Over time, your grammar will become more accurate because you're using it in meaningful ways. You'll notice errors naturally and fix them without needing to stop and think. Set grammar goals that are small and realistic. Instead of saying, "I want to master English grammar," try something like, "This week I'll learn the difference between present perfect and past simple." Or, "Today I'll focus on prepositions of place." When you break grammar into tiny, manageable parts, it becomes less scary and more doable. Celebrate each improvement. Language learning is a journey, not a race. Lastly, enjoy the process. Learning grammar doesn't have to be stressful. Watch funny videos that use new grammar points. Write silly stories using conditional sentences. Play games with friends using past tense verbs. Language is meant to connect people, tell stories, and express who you are. Grammar helps you do that more clearly. It's not about rules. It's about meaning. So, is grammar really that important? Yes, but not in the way many people think. Grammar is not about being perfect. It's about being understood. It's about giving your language structure and depth. When you learn grammar with curiosity, patience, and joy, it becomes a friend, not a burden. You don't need to master grammar before you speak. You master grammar by speaking. Let grammar support your message, not silence it. Keep learning. Keep speaking. Grammar will follow.